bright, starry, oil-driven future of the West.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Kill James Bond. I am Alice Caldwell-Cowley. Joining me, Abigail Thorne, Devon, and we have a guest, the inventor, proprietor, producer of ThoughtSlime, actual anarchist. Mildred is with us. How's it going, Mildred?
It's going good. It's going good. I just watched the dog shit movie that we're presumably going to talk about.
Oh yeah, this
must have been a different movie then, because this one was fucking sick.
No, this one
already.
sucks.
Already, I'm going to tell you, we got a strong range of opinions in the Kill James Bond group chat when we were watching this. I watched it last, and having done this, I got messages from Abby and I got messages from Devon that went differently. I love this movie, it's great, and this is absolute dog shit. And so I had the casting vote, and I fucking abstain. I don't know whether I like it or not, so Mildred, it's all you.
Team dog shit wins again.
The fucking nays have it. We watched a dog shit movie called The World Is Not Enough.
That's right, baby.
It's the third Brosnan one. It's the one where the James Bond producers, in their infinite foresight, thought, okay, well, the Soviet Union is over. 9/11 will never happen.
Right.
What's one thing that we can think on that's going to be like a reliable plot point that's never going to age, that's going to be, just go straight through history? And they came upon oil. So this is what we're talking about, is baby's first themes, but this time it's the oil industry.
James Bond has been sent by the British government to protect the oil industry, much like the diamond industry and fucking Diamonds Forever.
Yeah, but much like when you think about it, activating 14-year-old leftism mode here, much like every other Bond movie, he's just in it to protect the oil, man.
That's crazy.
He even gets called out on it at one point.
Yeah.
He's like, at least I believe in something. And they're like, what, preserving capital? And then he just kind of just says nothing to that.
He doesn't have a comeback.
he just kind of looks kind of angry, I guess. But yeah, no. So I guess we'll just jump straight into this, because
Bond
we begin.
theme brackets Latin American.
Yes, I wrote this down, the little fucking Spanish guitar, because you start with the Bond theme, and then there's a little like, and you realize, oh shit, we're in a Spanish-speaking country, because that's how you signal that. Other than putting a big thing on the screen that says Bilbao, Spain. We're in Bilbao, Spain, where James Bond is meeting a Swiss banker.
Sure.
In order to get back some money that has been like stolen from MI6 or something. I'll be honest with you. The plot in this movie, it's a little bit convoluted.
Yeah, it kind of front loads it a lot. But anyway, there's this oil billionaire who tried to buy a stolen report that was nicked from MI6.
Yes.
And Bond is there to retrieve the money. And the banker, basically, it's not entirely clear what the banker's trying to do, but he tries to intimidate Bond.
Yeah, he's like, Bond makes the mistake of instead of just walking out with the money, he wants to know who gave up the MI6 agent who got killed.
That was it, yeah.
Getting the report or whatever.
Yeah, which I believe was 009, who has died about 8 times throughout these fucking movies.
It's like the most red shirt number you can have is 009.
Was he still dressed as a clown this time?
Yeah, don't be 009. This is my advice to you.
Half of everything is clown, James. So the Swiss banker gets is trying to get him to leave with the money, and when Bond won't do that and is pressing him for a name, he's like, okay, fine, you know what, I'm just gonna kill you.
Bond says some nonce shit to a woman. She's like, do you want to check my figures? And Bond says, I'm sure they're perfectly rounded. And it's like, okay.
It's weird. She offers him a cigar, which...
But it sets off this movie's biggest theme, which is everybody is so sick of James Bond's shit.
That's true.
Fully.
That's true, because she hands him the receipt for the money, right? And she's like, would you like to check my figures? And he goes, sure, they're perfectly rounded.
She's
and
visibly disgusted.
There is fully a shot of her just going like, ugh.
I think I'm going to put this down here. This is the most Roger Moore that Brosnan's Bond ever becomes.
It's going to be the highest smarm for a Brosnan. I feel very confident of that.
Also, the reason he's offered a cigar is because they originally set this one in Havana, and then we're like, we should probably stop putting things in Havana.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, like this is a sort of an abiding theme of the Brosnan movies. Is whenever they have a terrible idea, they're like, we'll save it for the next one. Because he goes to Havana in the next one. The villain in this one was an idea they had for Alec Trevelyan, and then they were like, we'll do it in the next one.
No, it was for Stamper. It was for Stamper, wasn't it?
Oh, fuck, you're right. It was. Yeah.
And they're all the bloody same.
But Bond blows them up. Bond blows them up with secret glasses explosives.
An exploding gun detonated by his glasses, because he wears a lot of fucking weird glasses in this movie.
Yeah.
It's very, very notable for the fucked eyewear quality. He blows them up. The Spanish cops show up, and Bond repels out of a window by attaching himself to a guy as a counterweight.
First he asks the banker to name who the killer was who stole the report, and the banker is killed by the woman before he can. She then escapes. A goon bursts in, and the goon is shot by a sniper who saves Bond. And this comes back later.
See, it does come back later, but that is quite a lot of plot to put into the first 4 minutes of a movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
as noticed by the fact that I forgot half that shit and I watched it yesterday.
But you say that it comes back, but really it's just mentioned.
Yeah,
there's
that's
no
true.
reason that he lets Bond live. He just says later, I just wanted to.
It. I don't
That's
know.
a fair point. You're right.
I am more of a vibes-based sniper. So Bond escapes.
Front-loaded the plot is from this. You might think that the end of this scene is where the opening credits go in.
Yeah,
no.
He repels down the thing, walks away,
minutes.
but no, absolutely not.
We're gonna get even more Roger Moore, baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
First of all, he goes back to the shiny new MI6 building on Vauxhall Cross in London.
I have a real problem. Every time I see the Vauxhall Cross MI6 buildings, the first thing I always think is, that's right by where the TF live show venue is.
Yeah, it is. Because they're all SIS officers.
Mm-hmm.
And he sort of Roger Moore's up Moneypenny with the cigar in its little metal case, which looks obscene, by the way. He puts it on her desk, and she's like, "Oh, I know just where to put that." And you're just like, "Okay, that's a Bill Clinton cigar in the pussy joke in a Bond movie." And she throws it in the bin, and he's like,
"I missed that the assassin gave him a cigar." When I watched it. So in my mind, he just on his way out of Bilbao went to a gift shop. It's like, I gotta get something for Moneypenny. I don't know, a cigar? What do women like?
Shit. Yeah. Women love cigars and a series of sexual innuendos about putting a cigar up your pussy. They love that shit. Well, that is true.
Bond's never gotten over the fact that he didn't get to sleep with Xenia.
But Bond's based on the previous woman that I've spoken to, I'm pretty sure all women are like this. So it also sets up a dog shit pun where they're the story of our relationship, Moneypenny, is close but no cigar. At every point when he lands one of these things, I do the little do noise from The Spy Who Loved Me, where he's just for England.
Anyway, then we meet M's friend, the oil billionaire.
Yes.
Don't get too attached to him because he's about to be in pieces over the walls.
The most evil-looking motherfucker in this movie, Sir Robert King, who is an oil billionaire, a construction magnate,
and dead. He's dead.
I thought the line where he said, "James Bond, what do you think of my cool, conspicuous pin?" I thought that was very strange.
Yeah, check out my lapel pin. It's iced out.
Alice, you can't talk about wearing conspicuous pins.
I truly can. I don't think anyone on this show can, given that we have manufactured conspicuous pins, which will now be detonating for any of the viewers who have added us.
Yeah.
So M and Sir Robert King read law at Oxford together, and she went off to MI6. He went off to the oil industry, where he has, as she puts it, conquered the world. And now he has this report, which is about Russian terrorists who tried to blow up his pipeline in the Caspian. He has his money back that he paid for this report, like $3 million or whatever. And so he tries to headhunt Bond. Bond doesn't really go for it. And he walks to, I guess, the big money room in MI6 that they have for large amounts of money.
Huge amounts of physical cash that he's being given.
Yeah.
Money
no
and
idea how he's getting it out of there.
Yeah, it's the Prince Andrew payoffs room.
They don't have to worry about that. So Bond realizes something's wrong because he goes to have a bloody drink with M, and he notices that it's fizzing, like the ice is reacting to his touch or whatever.
He touched the money earlier on, and then he touches the ice, and the ice fizzes, and he's like, oh shit, there's something on the money. And then anyway, Robert King goes to get the money, and he explodes.
He is exploded. Yeah, he's fucking gone. The
way that they set up this bomb, where it's got some kind of reactive chemical on the money, that his pin is a radio transceiver. It's like just there's a bomb in the room. We get it. Like, you don't.
Yeah.
It's so complicated.
Bond has brought him the bomb, and it's like, I don't know.
Not to jump ahead to the explanation of the bomb, but it's only one scene ahead where they're at the funeral and they say that the money was soaked in urea. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Just the delightful image of Renard just pissing on 20s.
What?
Is that a delightful image?
Soaked bill with a fucking magnesium strip on it. Blow a hole in MI6.
That's MI6, baby. Just a big case full of piss-soaked money. But
piss-soaked bills.
By the way, also in the video game adaptation, which I assume I'm the only person here that's played.
No, I've played this too. The difficult second album to GoldenEye 007. Yeah.
Yeah. The oil baron survives, which would make the rest of the plot of this story completely irrelevant.
Yeah. Very strange. But what he doesn't do in this is survive. What he does do is get exploded in such a way that he blows a hole in the outside of Vauxhall Cross, much like dissident Irish Republicans did using a rocket launcher. And much like dissident Irish Republicans did using a rocket launcher, the woman who done it, who switched this money with the pissy money, is of course the cigar girl from The Office and Bilbao.
How did I not notice?
She's waiting.
Was she the same? Oh, she is the same woman.
Yeah, she's the same woman. She's only credited as Cigar Girl. She is waiting on the River Thames in a powerboat to see what transpires. And to me, my thinking is, you're going to kill the guy, right? You've now blown up something in there. That's, excellent work, Agent 47, head for an exit. No, this lady is committed. She sticks around to watch. And when James Bond pokes his head out of the big comical smoking hole in MI6 headquarters, she tries to shoot at him, which is
She's
really...
how's this for perfectly rounded, motherfucker?
She has an entirely legitimate, but let's say slightly impractical grudge against James Bond for that one Roger Moore quip. She's just like, Bond must die at any cost for this.
But he chases her in a Q boat, and my notes say, boat chase, Roger Moore eats shit.
He just sort of gets in this fucking super cool boat, which is nearly cool, except it's making this horrid whirring noise the entire time, which does a little bit distract from it being cool.
But it's submersible.
It's water.
He goes on the water and shoots torpedoes.
Don't talk to me about that fucking shot. Oh my god, the shot to shot on that fucking
hit. We'll get to it in a second.
Under the water and then it...
Yeah.
He steals Q's experimental fucking stealth boat or whatever and ramps it out of the building for a chase down the River Thames, right? And there's so many shots
several
of
weeks to film because there's a speed limit of 9 miles an hour for boats at the River Thames.
There's so many shots where like Bond dodges like a rocket or a bridge or something, and he gets wet. And there's so many shots of wet Bond in this, and I simply wrote down, I ask if the Bond is creepy or wet. And the director laughs and says, It's a good movie, Alice.
He's wet.
He's wet. He's a wet boy. Just a lot of shots of Brosnan like smoothing his wettened hair out of his face.
I like this sequence. I think it's well shot. It's well scored. The music's really good. The boat is cool.
Yeah, I mean, it lasts a bit, and there's like, there's two things going on here. One is that the Thames always has been, and always will be a really shit river. Both literally and metaphorically. And so there's a lot of shots of like stuff that has now been redeveloped into like super luxury apartments, but then was just like, it's Docklands, it's, whatever. But like, and also it goes back to the Roger Moore tradition of comical reaction shots in the middle of your chase, because there's a bit where he drenches a couple of parking wardens.
Yeah,
clamping a car.
Dad movie. You've got to get the parking wardens.
Absolutely.
This is a dad fantasy.
There should have been about two boats carrying a sheet of glass across the Thames.
Yeah. Oh no, my giant barge full of like loose fruit and vegetables. And in fact, they do this. They do this because the boat goes over land and he goes through a fucking fruit stall.
He does. But they also do a corkscrew jump in a boat, which is very cool.
We're going to talk about the one shot. The one shot is...
I'll give you that one.
The one shot is he's got to go under a closing bridge, right? And so he pulls a convenient lever that's like go under closing bridge on the boat. And it sort of dives underwater for a second.
Well, we assume it does, but the film decided not to show us that. It just cuts to him underwater because they couldn't actually build something that did it or like do some special effects.
It really does feel like they just sort of inserted the shot of him underwater between two, because it goes underwater, quote unquote. You get the splash, and then there's a shot of him underwater, and he adjusts his tie. Lol, very funny. But he's moving so much slower because moving underwater is really difficult. And then it cuts back to him being above water again, and the effect is very jarring.
I'm gonna say I did not notice that because I was too busy going, "This is sick."
I was also laughing at the musical cue here, which is almost a perfect like 2000s mirror of the. You know what? I'll just give you the Roger Moore "Spy Who Loved Me," like for England, James. If I can find it.
The dude. Yeah, he has his own little 2000s dude.
But James, I need you.
So does England.
Yeah, he's got a little like do. Yeah, it's cool.
I don't know,
fine,
man.
It's fine. No, I'm not too jaded to say this isn't cool.
They
crash. There's a really funny moment where he launches torpedoes from his boat, and then we see her face just going, "What the fuck?"
All of the shots of her in this movie, she's just like stood fully rigid upright because that's how you drive a powerboat, I guess. And she just looks like, what the fuck?
They crash into the Millennium Dome.
She literally gives a really good impression of a woman being exposed to Bond's shit for the first time ever. They're just like, what the fuck is he?
In so many ways. Oh, his boat goes underwater now, does it? Okay, fine. Well, she crashes into the Millennium Dome and Bond follows her. And this is where I wrote down, there's some fucking ideology going on here. Because this is all set up for the Millennium Dome being a thing, London being a sort of like, 2000 city being a thing. There's this horrible vibe of like optimism and like fucking cool Britannia and shit off of this, which will of course be crushed instantly. But, for now, for 1999, there's a couple of seconds of just like, Britain. Isn't it cool to live in Britain?
Hauntology. That's the watchword of the podcast.
That's right. There's a little bit of hauntology.
You could refer to it as hauntology.
Yeah, she hijacks a hot air balloon. Bond grabs onto one of the ropes. So Bond fucking is hanging off of the ropes of a hot air balloon that this cigar girl international assassin has hijacked, and he tries to negotiate with her, which is an interesting move when you're dangling from a woman's hot air balloon. But he goes, tell me who's paying you. And she goes, you can't protect me, not from him. And instantly shoots one of the hot air balloon tanks, incinerating herself and sending James Bond plummeting onto the Millennium Dome.
So sick, it rules!
There's a number of things in this movie that explode when there's really no reason for them to explode.
There's so many things wrong with this scene in my mind. Because number one, when you shoot something that explodes in a hot air balloon, they should team rocket into the sky and Secondly, if she has a gun, just shoot James Bond. Why are you killing yourself? He's dangling off of your hot air balloon. You have all of the power. Untie the rope.
Because there's 2 helicopters in the distance. And also, if she doesn't kill him, if she has to go in like MI6 witness protection, we've seen from the Dalton years that a guy with headphones and a big ass will just come and like murder you. But also, like she would have to listen to more quips. He would be doing Roger Moore shit at her the whole time.
But instead, we've got to have the opening titles. Sick theme song, sick titles.
Banger detected. It's garbage. We have we have Shirley Manson.
Garbage.
Yes. The song is great. The titles are sort of like baby's first themes, but the themes is like it's oil this time as opposed to technology or the Soviet Union.
What if oil was a sexy lady though?
Yeah, what if women, naked women, jumping in and out of pools of oil? What if that?
I wish they'd had time to finish the render.
That'd be hot.
Is my only complaint.
I wanted to entertain that idea.
And
the only person in this movie that does jump in and out of a pool of fucking black tar in any manner is goddamn
Robbie Coltrane,
Russian bastard.
Zukovsky.
Robbie Coltrane.
Hagrid.
It's Zukovsky,
absolutely.
baby. That's the hot
communism girl. Hagrid. Yeah, that's your hot girl.
Hagrid.
So we cut from one of the better Bond themes immediately into bagpipes which is a confusing decision because we're in Scotland for burying what remains of Sir Robert King after he was exploded
in a matchbox.
Yeah, there's a small like tablespoon with a
really
British flag draped over
gravestone
it.
that just says the Mao.
Yeah, he's buried as is traditional for an English person under a big tombstone with a crying, laughing emoji on it. And so M is at the funeral, Bond is at the funeral, wearing a very tasteful funereal black sling because he's broken his arm, being dropped onto the Millennium Dome. And we also see that Sir Robert King has an absolute 10 out of 10 smoke show daughter. Because the Bond movies love an heiress, right? They love them. Love that shit. They love the shit where it's like, this dead British guy, who was incidentally a stand-up guy as far as MI6 are concerned,
he's got
has an absolute hot, like, like not British, but like exotic looking hot daughter.
Also, she's called Electra because screenwriting.
Yeah, honestly,
screenwriting.
I heard the sentence, "That's King's daughter, Electra," and I was like, "Oh, come on!"
You're a bold man if you name your own daughter Electra. Like,
absolutely the worst named character in the movie.
That's right, baby.
Can't think of anyone with a worse name in this movie.
If you're uncertain
in this fucking movie
about this joke, Electra in Greek mythology is like the female version of Oedipus because she killed her daddy. I'll just tell you now, as far as a plot point, right? I'm just going to give you this drop from, famed Sean Connery vehicle Never Say Never Again, and leave it here on the table for the rest of the episode.
Fanatical revolutionaries kidnap a millionaire's daughter and held her captive for 8 weeks. Of course she could have been brainwashed. Could have turned.
Oh my god, you're right.
Literally did the plot of this movie as a joke in a movie with a fucking 56-year-old Sean Connery.
Because Electra was kidnapped previously by non-specific terrorists.
Yes.
And she was being ransomed for a large amount of money
$5 million, which is not a large amount of money as far as these things go.
I would pay more than that to have some time with Sophie Marceau. But anyway, she was being ransomed, and King was actually trying to buy his daughter back from the terrorists.
Yes.
M refused. M told him,
we don't negotiate with terrorists, and also maybe if you don't pay, we can get to the kidnappers, right? Which is more important than the well-being of your daughter.
Mm-hmm. But they didn't. They failed, and Elektra escaped on her own, allegedly.
Yes.
And King's dead, so M's like, I fucked up. I'm shit. I suck. And then Bond fucks his doctor.
Oh, there's a beautiful line in the briefing though, which is fucking Robinson briefs them a bit. And he goes, well, we think there's an insider because we figured out that the bomb was detonated with his lapel pin, which means someone had to have switched it. And then he says...
And our only lead committed suicide on that balloon.
Perfect line.
Wonderful. Perfect. Spot on. There's also a line during the funeral where fucking M is like, we promise you whoever murdered King will be brought to justice. And I've written, we assure you whoever murdered King will be dispatched in the most bizarre manner you can imagine.
it will exploit his or her disability. Yeah.
On the fucking case, baby.
If their ethnicity is anything weird, our man will observe the shit out of that.
And she says, I've relied on MI6 twice. I won't make that mistake again.
Yeah, that is a good line.
So Bond is supposed to be off duty with his fucked shoulder, but as you say, Abigail, he has sex with his doctor, whose name the name is given as Dr. Molly Warmflash.
What? No, it's not. You're making that up.
That's her name, Dr. Molly Warmflash.
That's what she's credited as.
Dr. Molly Warmflash.
They couldn't outdo Dr. Holly Goodhead, could they? Molly Warmflash, wonderful.
He literally fucks his way back into active duty.
At least she's into it.
Doctor.
She is into it.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, she's into it. Yeah, they've figured out that they should make the women into it.
Forgot to mention, all of this is happening in MI6's Scottish headquarters, which is literally a castle on the Isle of Skye. We're in MI6 brackets Scottish for basically no reason, I guess.
They blew up MI6 brackets English.
They only blew up a bit. Put a board over it. It's fine. It's fine. Don't be such a baby. You don't have to move to a castle. And besides that, like, that's your headquarters in... Like, I mean, I know we're a bit primitive, but we have cities, guys. You can get an office building, like a normal one. You don't have to fucking hang out in Castle Grayskull.
But would it have a machine gun bagpiper?
That is true, because having nonced his way back into active duty, Bond meets Q, and Q has a surprise for him in the form of...
I want to introduce you to the young fellow I'm grooming.
Just...
One of the worst drops that we've ever been given, and he just says that verbatim. That's no editing.
I want to introduce you to the young fellow I've been grooming.
And who is
Granddad? Is my little girl hot and ready?
Ooh.
And who is that young fellow?
It's that young fellow he's been grooming. That young fellow is John Cleese.
Notorious transphobe and maker of a series about cancel culture.
Yes, John
A man
Cleese.
living on the island of St. Kitts and Nevis and talking a lot of shit about refugees. Interesting. Moving on.
Yes.
I think
John Cleese, a man who is
just like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Q hates this guy.
Q hates his guts. His apprentice, the young man he's been grooming, and John Cleese is here doing what I can describe sort of through clenched teeth as a fine British tradition called a comic turn. Like, when you're there to, like, elevate a movie by doing a bit of fucking pantomime in the middle of it.
Just a bit of fun. It's a bit of fun. He's having a good time.
He's doing a comic turn. And his comic turn is to, like...
comic turn.
You know, get his fucking lab coat stuck in a car door, shit like that. His vibe is sort of more abrasive than Q.
I'm turning my damn TV off. Get this shit out of here.
Get his ass. Q's like, okay, show him for some reason the North Face jacket that we have for James Bond here for no fucking reason.
He also has X-ray glasses and a BMW Z4.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of eyewear.
Before we move past this jacket, though, when John Cleese tests it, his legs are clearly sticking out of the bottom, and then later, when Bond actually has to use it, he has to like cut his way out of it with an X-Acto knife.
Oh yeah. The point of this jacket is that you pull like a ripcord on this winter jacket, and it enfolds you in a big sphere of insulating material for no fucking reason that anybody can think of.
Because if you fall off something high,
they don't even explain why you might want to use it.
If you just want to do some sorbing,
you want that? Bitch?
Yeah. On the other hand, I did get a drop of John Cleese saying the word poppers out of it, so...
Poppers!
Just, I can hit you with
using drugs.
Poppers!
But then Q retires.
Yes.
This is the last Q scene.
I love that it's also like the only time in the movie where James Bond shows any warmth or affection to anyone, and Q just shuts him down. He's like, "You're not going to retire too soon, are you?" And Q's just like, "Fuck you, you ruined my boat. I'm out of here."
Yeah.
He's retiring age 85. What the fuck is the pension like at MI6?
Desmond Llewellyn didn't want this to be his last Bond movie. He wanted to keep doing them. He wanted to do the next one. But the reason it's a retirement
it's a fucking sickness of the mind.
The reason it's a retirement scene is he got killed in a car accident right after this fucking came out. Yeah. And so this now becomes a retirement scene.
Do try and bring the car back in one piece.
Oh my god. Oh my fucking god.
3 weeks after the premiere of this movie, Desmond Llewellyn died in a car accident alongside his boyfriend, Dodi Al-Fayed.
It's so ironic.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he was driving age 85 on a country lane, so, hard to say who's at fault on that one. But...
R.I.P. to a real one, flags at half-mast for Q. He like genuinely did a great job of his character.
The movies are genuinely much worse without him,
and thank God they didn't stick with Cleese afterwards. They instead cursed Ben Whishaw to have to do Q until he died.
We get a little bit more John Cleese in Die Another Day, but after that we're done with him.
And fuck. Oh man.
Yeah, sorry to be the one to tell you.
You don't like Twink Q?
Twink Q is interesting. It's very funny to me that Twink Q is like 45 years old in No Time to Die, but he still has to act like he's like 31, maybe tops.
So Bond puts together that the exact he uses MI6's proprietary super secret currency exchange rate calculator and works out that the amount of explosive piss money that he was given is the exact amount of piss money that Carmen Electra was being fucking ransomed for. And he's like, this is a message.
I will note, the piss money calculator comes out at, there's a spare 3 pence. It's like all these piles of bills and then 3p.
So it was rattling around
2p and a 1p coin in piss.
They ended up embedded in Sir Robert King's brain.
It was shrapnel.
Much like the bullet, which is embedded in the brain of the villain that we identify on the identigraph.
He doesn't believe in anything. He'll ask for money and then attach a random amount at the end just to fuck with MI6.
Hauntology is when you see a spooky ghost. And we see the spookiest ghost of all because Bond goes into the room with M and he's like, I've just figured this out. And also, M, you sealed Carmen Electra. I'm going to be calling her this the whole time. Carmen Electra's file. And only you could have done that. So you know something. And she clears the room and brings up a big spooky skull from the floor. A big spooky holographic skull.
To be indispensable.
I find the computer indispensable.
It's so fucked up. All I'm ever thinking whenever a computer does anything in these fucking movies is that exact sentence.
Yeah, find a computer indispensable.
I find a computer indispensable.
Now, what the indispensable computer is doing here...
noises in the background of that drop so much. Yeah,
what the computer is doing here is rendering a sort of like PS2 version of Robert Carlyle over a spooky skull. Because in an attempt to like rescue Elektra King, 009, Earth's most killed
Useless.
00 agent,
again. Fucking hell, man.
Before
How
getting
do you fuck
killed,
up shooting a man in the head. Sorry, Karen.
manages to like
Successfully shot him in the head, to be fair.
Yeah.
He very much shot him in the head, and now it has made him more powerful because
this is Renard. He's our villain.
Yes, they can never decide whether it's a silent like D on the end or not, like it's Renard or Renard. But like he has been shot in the head. 009's bullet is still in his head, and
he feels no pain. He can push himself harder, longer than any normal man.
Ooh.
The bullet will kill him, but he'll grow stronger every day until the day he dies.
Every day?
The thing about Renard is that the movie is so proud of this idea that they every like fourth or fifth line regarding him is someone talking about how he doesn't feel pain, and it doesn't really come up ever.
No,
hard disagree.
Fuck off.
Perfect foil for James Bond because it's the one villain whose disability Bond can't use against him.
Oh, that's so smart. Oh shit.
So this, I think this is actually genuinely really clever, and part of the credit goes to Robert Carlyle, because a cleverer film would have used this as a fantastic metaphor for radicalization. In that every day he gets less and less able to feel other people. He gets more and more radicalized into, we're told he's an anarchist and that he only believes in chaos, which, okay, whatever. That's not what anarchism is. But it would have been really cool as a metaphor for radicalization, and also like matches up quite nicely with what we learn about Elektra later on. Also, I think Robert Carlyle deserves a lot of credit for his performance in this because he's so good. It would have been really easy to have Renard be like, oh, he feels no pain, and also he's like emotionally feels nothing. But actually, his performance, he's emotionally the most sensitive villain we have. Like, he's almost in tears at
points. He's a very sad man.
He is, he's a simp, but like, he plays it so well. I love Renard. I think he's great. I think Robert Carlyle's fucking fantastic.
I agree with absolutely everything that you just said, Abby. You are 100% right. But none of that disproves my point. The people who came up with this idea thought it was the greatest shit in the world. And just
that is
basically
true.
Every second thing he says is about not being able to feel anything.
Yeah.
He does be telling people that he can't feel anything.
Yeah, and other people be telling him it. Like, is telling him it.
But he's also, as we mentioned,
because you keep
he is an anarchist, and anarchism is when you go to a bunch of like conflict zones like Iran and Iraq and Syria and North Korea in order to do shit. At one point, someone says of him, his only goal is chaos.
I think it's M even who says it.
Yeah, I don't mean to wheel out my big sort of like ideology for dummies thing here, but this movie makes a lot more sense once you realize, as I did about an hour in, that what they've done is confuse the word anarchist and the word nihilist. Because at one point, Bond fully tells him to his face, that's real smart for a guy who doesn't believe in anything. And it's like, that's not even close. To anyone's idea of what anarchism is. You've literally just got one of the nihilists from The Big Lebowski in your head there.
And Renard makes fun of it for this. Like, mocks him to his face.
Yeah.
But anyway, the mission is, so why didn't Renard kill Elektra when he had her? Go to Elektra, protect her, find Renard if possible.
Captured, could have been turned, brainwashed.
Whatever you do, don't have sex with this beautiful woman, James Bond. Also, one more thing I want to point out about this scene. In the background, there is an oil painting of Bernard Lee as M, which I thought was quite nice. Because Bond is the same man who went to space and killed 2 gay men on a cruise ship.
Yes.
That's right, absolutely. No, it's the same guy. There's a bunch of oil paintings of previous actors who played M in No Time to Die as well, which I did appreciate a great deal.
Because it's the same guy.
Same guy.
It's the same guy, baby.
So yeah, Bond's detail is to like bodyguard Electra King, whether she wants it or not, and find out who the insider is who had Sir Robert, the innocent man, in M's words, the innocent oil baron,
billionaire.
Bond, your enemy is this anarchist, and your ally, why, the humble oil tycoon, friend to all. And then it cuts to fucking Azerbaijan, and there's a bunch of villagers getting mad at him, and they're like, "Oh, the fucking villagers are talking shit again." What?
Yeah,
what is going on?
The villagers are talking shit because the villagers are talking shit because he wants to like route a fucking oil pipeline through their church.
Mm-hmm.
It's so surreal that it cuts to this village where people are protesting an oil pipeline, and we are meant to sympathize with the people constructing the oil pipeline in that scene.
Good.
It is so surreal.
Good. It's incredible that they just put that in. Also, while he's like driving in, there is a fucking helicopter-mounted series of saws that are cutting trees down.
Yes.
And the camera held on it for a little too long, and I went, "Oh, for fuck's sake. We're going to see that cunt again, aren't we?"
That was the best part of the movie for me.
I've
seen it. It's payoff.
At this point in the movie, I'm simply like, the whole front of my brain is occupied with, instead of a bullet, it's occupied with a big countdown that I started going, time until he activates the fucking jacket. When will you activate the jacket?
Oh, baby.
Why aren't you activating the jacket now? Things of this nature.
Whenever the jacket is on screen, I want it to be activated.
Whenever someone says something awkward to Bond or one of his lines doesn't come off.
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog spinball away.
So Bond arrives at this pipeline site where he meets with Electra King's head of security, who is a guy called Davidoff. And Davidoff is like, I keep telling Electra King not to be a girl boss, but she keeps doing it. She keeps being a girl boss, and true to form, she shows up in a helicopter, talks to the locals in Russian, and then gets a big cheer out of them because she has diplomatically gone, okay, we'll just move the pipeline like 3 feet so it goes around the church a bit, which is cause for like huge celebration and joy.
This is what we are seeing. It turns out to be a red herring, but this is what we are shown as like, Electra is compassionate and good. She's moving her oil pipeline round a church.
She's a good
How
oil
generous.
tycoon. Don't worry. It's cool.
She's good. Also,
more women, oil tycoons.
She has the most ideological line I've ever heard. Where she's
I've got
like,
a couple.
My family. Oh, do you want to?
I'll give you the line. Yeah.
Mother's family discovered the oil here. When the Soviet Union was formed, the communists spent the next 70 years plundering our countryside for it.
First of all, I love the communists.
Fuck you.
The communists.
The communists have been plundering our oil site. Now it's time for me.
But like,
to
what are you doing?
What she's doing, as she explains in the very next shot, is guaranteeing our future because she is building a pipeline.
Through the same action that she's telling the communists off.
Because when communists do it and like give people food and housing, that's plunder. But when I do it, it's guaranteeing our future.
But you should feel bad for her because she knows she's in danger because...
I'm trying to build an 800-mile pipeline through Turkey, past the terrorists in Iraq, Iran, and Syria.
Oh, fuck.
Well,
you really should have... Why did you plan the route of your pipeline through the terrorist camps? That seems like a...
Well, see, they did ask her to come and move them, but it wasn't a church, so she didn't...
She's moving it around the camps. Just...
It's very weird to just go, Iran, Iraq, Syria, terrorists. Like
this movie came out in 1999, by the way.
Yeah, like it's not wrong necessarily, but it is also very racist.
Yeah.
It's not wrong, but it is also very funny to position Turkey as somehow not.
Yeah.
We're drawing a hard divide
or fucking
here between
Azerbaijan, where they currently are. So But it sets up that like her pipeline goes south, right? There's 3 other Russian pipelines that go north instead. They're in competition, and so she's like, yeah, I could be killed at fucking any time by the Russians, dude. I don't need your help. But because Bond, as he says, doesn't take no for an answer, he basically just follows her on a skiing trip.
She has a line where she just goes, this oil pipeline is my legacy to the world. And I wrote, thanks, cheers, cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.
The logic also of, well, I want to build this big $1 billion oil pipeline, so obviously everyone's trying to kill me. It's like, I feel like pipelines are getting built all the time in the real world, and nobody's...
Yeah.
You don't hear about tycoons getting murdered very often.
No, you
Sadly,
really don't. You really don't.
Her fit in the skiing scene, incredible. Red leather ski suit, black fur hat, sunglasses.
Big
my notes say,
yeah.
Electra King can survey my pipeline anytime.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's a fucking skiing scene, because I'm telling you, it's
Abigail.
Roger Moore. He's back again. And he's called
He is
Pierce
back.
Brosnan.
He's back. And
They have a
so they
long-ass scene where nothing is even happening. They're just skiing. Like, there's not even any threat. They're just hanging out.
And at this point, I am grinding my back molars into dust, going, activate the coat. Activate the fucking coat.
Because they get attacked by parahawks.
Yes, and if you don't know what a parahawk is, neither do I. But they say the word parahawk like 5 or 6 more times in this movie, so you better get fucking familiar with what a parahawk is. What a parahawk
They
is.
do with a parachute.
Look out at some parahawks, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and nobody goes like, what the fuck is a parahawk? A parahawk is a fucking snowmobile with a fucking parachute on top of it and a propeller at the back.
It's sick.
It is sick nasty, yes. So some guys try to kill them in these. Bond does the usual like ski nonce escape shit. He tears a bit off of one of their parachutes with his ski, which causes one of them to crash. He like leads them into some trees, which causes some more of them to crash.
I really want to highlight, there's one moment where he leads one to drive off a cliffside, and he does a quip as if he's killed it, and then it just activates the parachute again, and he looks so fucking upset.
The quip there is, see you back at the lodge, which...
Sure, man.
So, yeah, eventually he, like, kills off enough of them that the explosion triggers an avalanche.
Would have been really funny if he just gone, fucking cunt.
and at this point, I finally get my fondest desire, because he pulls the fucking coat ripcord and envelops both him and Electra King in a comforting zorb, which they ride down the mountain. The poppers?
Using drugs? Heroin. Using drugs? Selling dope? Heroin. Poppers.
There we go.
There it is.
Now, at this point...
She has claustrophobia, which he cures by violently shaking
I was
her.
going to say, Bond is so fucking good with panic attacks, right? She's under a fucking mountain with this absolute nonce in a zorb, and he's like... Fucking be calm.
Are you kidding me? I thought this was fantastic on his part. He didn't slap her. I was like, he's gonna slap her any fucking second.
That is progress.
Didn't do it.
Shook her,
progress.
Though. He shook her pretty violently.
He absolutely he gives her shaken baby syndrome.
Oh, he does shake her a great deal, but
and he keeps saying, "Look
Baby
into my
steps.
eyes," which is like. But he's like...
He's trying to hypnotize her.
Yeah, he hypnotizes her like a mongoose. And this sort of works. And then he goes, listen, we're going to get out of here. And then they get out of there easily.
yeah, cool. Good.
Which is like, really, like, there's something about that that's so fucking cynical. Like, if you could have gotten out of there that easily, just fucking do it. And if you want to have threat, then have the threat. But don't have your cake and eat it, you know?
My notes then say casino sex crimes.
Yeah, mine just says nonce. Same sort of thing.
Nonce.
He does some nonce shit in a casino.
Yeah. Fucking Carmen Electra like is checked out by the doctor back at her palace in Baku, and she's like, she's fine, but she tries to hit on Bond, and Bond's like, I shouldn't really, because like an old woman told me not to.
I have been told not to, but
I have been told explicitly.
Let's see.
Have been told explicitly by a woman who just said to my face that she doesn't tolerate insubordination. not to have sex with you. So at this time, I'm not going to have sex with you. What I am going to do to blow off some steam is get my special nonsense glasses.
Crimes in a casino.
Zukovsky's casino.
He walks around a casino with like X-ray goggles on, and we see a bunch of women's bikinis, and he looks at a big lad, and all we see is like a gun. And I'm like, show me the hog. What are you doing? Don't fucking give me this.
There is a kind of like good joke though, in that whenever he looks at anyone in this casino, they are all armed.
Yeah, there could have been something there, like the idea that he's like in a fucking like zone of danger or whatever could have been interesting, but instead it's just like,
he took the
yo, you heard of panties?
Yeah. Every single one of these motherfuckers in this casino has a pistol on them, apart from this large man with no hog who has like, I guess, a big knife and a revolver. Right?
He'll fucking moral use that against him. Don't say he's got no hog.
and so Roger Brosnan goes up to him and he goes, "I want to talk to communism, Hagrid from the film Goldeneye." You remember him? It's your favorite character from the movie Goldeneye. It's Robbie Coltrane. All Scots are Russians. These are the same nationality.
A second transphobe has hit the movie.
Free market economy will be the death of me.
Oh, I didn't know Robbie Coltrane was a transphobe. Come on.
Me
I think
either.
I might
That's
be
depressing.
exaggerating. I think didn't he say something? He said like J.K. Rowling's critics are exaggerating or something.
Whatever, that's fine. I wouldn't call Eddie Redmayne a transphobe, but like,
yeah,
it's the same sort of
Free market economy, I swear it will be the end.
Yeah, and he makes that joke
guy,
again.
you know, that guy. He literally does make that exact joke again. Instead this time he goes,
I'm a slave to the free market economy.
Which is a weird line reading, if you ask me. I'm a
slave.
I'm a slave. Just go up there. So Bond intimidates this goon who has gold teeth. He has a grill, which Bond is like
sick.
Yeah, very, very amused by. His line is he puts his money where his mouth is, which is very funny.
There's a wonderful line, and I wrote Mr. Surname has impacted the podcast because fucking Robbie Coltrane goes, Mr. Bullion does not trust banks, and I went, okay, let's go.
Mr. Bullion has a lot of like not an Auric Goldfinger level, but like close level of like gold accessories.
There are two main guy archetypes in any Bond film, and it's Mr. Surname and Mongo from Blazing Saddles. And there are two of these in this movie, and it's beautiful because fucking Carmen Electra has a Mongo.
Yeah, Gabor, his name is.
Gabor,
just a big dude.
Who does nothing for the entire movie except show up in a scene and then eventually die. Carry on.
Apparently, I found out from watching on Mr. Sunday Movies, he is from the Australian version of American Gladiators.
No way! God, imagine if they had tried to give him lines, he just fucking sounded too Australian to do it. Oh, James Bond.
Oh, rack off me fucking
pipeline, Rick.
Get on out of here.
But anyway, it's not entirely clear what Bond is. I don't remember what he's doing, but he comes to see Zukovsky, and Zukovsky goes, "Chill out, James. Like, let's have a party."
He's trying to get the same name. He's trying to get the same name he was trying to get from the Swiss banker guy. But at this point, Carmen Electra shows up.
Incredible red dress, red lip, red shawl, gold pumps. Beautiful.
I'm aiming the spray bottle into the camera lens like the fucking opening of the movies.
You're saying that as if you're not also going to do this about a scene later on. I feel like I'm the only one who can be trusted with a spray bottle on this movie.
That's true. You know what? Fine, I'll hand you the spray bottle.
Just
but
kidding,
for this
Mongo's real hot, baby. Let's go.
Gotcha. There's actually two keys that you have to turn at the same time to
turning
unlock
the spray bottle on myself. Yeah. So yeah, she walks into the casino.
Game that she plays in the casino. It's so fucking funny.
She plays. What?
It's not even a game.
Zukovsky is like, okay, do you want to play blackjack, Shemendefer, poker, or what is it you want to play? And she's like, yeah, fuck it, just draw a card. I don't give a shit.
She's looking at like £1,000,000 fucking pounds, draw 2 cards, highest wins. Bond's
Have
like,
you
what
heard
the
of
fuck are you doing?
52 card pickup, Mr. Bond?
Literally just like luck. Like And she instantly loses $1 million.
The thing about luck is that it's half of everything.
Half of everything.
So she loses.
The card game more stupid than Shamanda.
She just walked straight into the casino. Robbie Coltrane says, "Your father had a $1 million credit line. We're happy to extend you a same favor." And she goes, "Cool. Take that $1 million, draw one card, and fucking tell me if I win."
Instantly loses.
Instantly loses.
What she says is, what's the point in living if you can't feel alive? Now, I personally don't know how alive I would feel about losing $1 million for no reason.
Yeah, I think I would feel pretty bad. Just then again, I'm not an oil tycoon, so I don't know. Maybe she's got millions to burn.
Yeah. And Bond then sort of casually goes, "Oh, where's that guy Davidoff that I saw earlier? Please set up our next scene." And she goes, "I gave him the night off." Now, what Davidoff is doing on his night off is not playing World of Tanks like a normal person. It is hanging out at some hot springs.
Hey, that's normal.
Where
the filler arc in an anime, hanging out at the hot springs. It's cool.
You remember how in GoldenEye we found out that a guy was evil because he emerged from the shadows wearing a leather jacket with a facial disfigurement? You remember how much you loved that shit?
Oh, I thought that
how
was
much you
cool.
loved that fucking shit where the guy had a leather jacket and something was fucked up with his face? Well, that's about to happen again because Renard shows up in a leather jacket with a facial disfigurement.
He walks out of a thing and he's like, "Yeah, the fires here never go out. It's cool. Fuck off." And like,
this is actually epic. He's got kind of like a sort of like an eyelid droop on one side, so like his eyes are like asymmetrical, and he has the bullet wound above it.
He looks cool. He looks great. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
He's holding a boiling hot rock, but it's just like smoking in his hand because he can't feel it. It's cool.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Now the listeners might be confused because the movie hasn't brought it up in a while, but this guy doesn't
I want
feel
to be
pain.
Clear here, just in case you are like.
They don't really stress that in the movie, but
he explains he explains that the hot rocks thing is part of an ancient Hindu pilgrimage in Azerbaijan, where Hindu pilgrims would hold onto the rocks while praying. This is not true, but whatever. And then he makes Davidoff hold onto the spicy rock, right? He gives his friend a spicy rock, and then he does a classic Blofeld maneuver. He does the Blofeld maneuver. He has two guys, and then he goes, "Okay, well, why didn't you kill Bond at the fucking thing?"
Parahawks.
Note at this point, he does not say, "Why didn't you kill Carmen Electra with the Parahawks?" He says, "Why didn't you kill Bond with the Parahawks?" And Davidoff makes some kind of like excuse, right? And Renard goes, "Kill him," while looking at him while the guy has a gun pointed at him, and the guy interprets that as a signal to kill the guy who is not Davidoff.
I would love
beautiful
him
management.
to be like, "No, I fucking meant. Oh, what the fuck, dude? I thought I was pretty clear about this. I meant Davidoff." The thing is, the other guy who is the sweatiest man on God's earth, like Ace Attorney Witness caught in a fifth lie. He's just there like, "Oh, they're gonna want the Parahawks back." Like, stop saying Parahawk like it's a thing.
You can hear the trademarks.
The Parahawk registered trademark.
So at this point, Carmen Electra goes to Bond, and she's like, "Okay, will you have sex with me now?" And he goes, "Well, you've asked me a second time, so obviously yes." She has this weird move with an ice cube.
Oh, she loves the ice
I
cube.
don't say electric and put ice in my mouth any day.
Yeah, I bet they fucking do.
Again, calm down.
The gender euphoria I got from this scene, because listeners, my casting used to be Pierce Brosnan, tall, dark and handsome, hairy-chested British man. And my casting is now, I'm not as good looking as Sophie Marceau, but like intelligent, villainous brunette. Also my casting.
Disagree.
So thank you, very sweet. But seeing these two lying next to each other, seeing Pierce Brosnan's like hairy, lined, ham meat body next to Sophie Marceau's like incredible, soft, long-haired beauty, I was like, I have made the correct choice in my life. Also, her acting is so good. Like, this is a good time to mention she gives this incredible performance as a woman who just like essentially rules the whole fucking world because she's a billionaire, but like for that reason, she's slightly unhinged. And if she doesn't get what she wants immediately, she just acts like a spoiled child. And it's so good. She's an incredible actress in there.
She's a great girl boss.
She's a great girl boss. Long-time listeners of the show will know that I love a setup reminder payoff. So I'd just like to highlight here the reminder during this love scene of his fucked up shoulder, which you might have forgotten about considering that he's been doing everything normally for the entire movie so far. But he does have a fucked shoulder.
Yeah,
and he does not have a bullet in his brain, so he feels it.
And
feels pain.
Crucially, Carmen Electra knows that he has a fucked up shoulder. Right? That this will be important later. So,
and she's a little into it.
Yeah. So Bond goes to investigate what happened to Davidoff, right? And what happened is he's just driving around with the extremely sweaty dead guy in the trunk of his car.
So Bond then just fucking kills him.
Yeah, Bond takes the place of the sweaty guy, waits for Davidoff to open up his trunk, then kicks him in the mouth and shoots him.
Would have been kind of awkward if that sweaty guy had like died from a heart attack and Davidoff was like moving the body of his friend. Like Bond assumes evil is going on and is fortunately correct, but whatever.
Yes. So Bond is now going undercover as Davidoff, which requires him to meet up with number one hard-based Slavic Gopnik gang.
There's another Mongo in this group. They can't stop. He meets up with this huge balding Russian man, and then we meet every other Russian man, and they're also all bald.
They're all bald! I wrote down, bald gang. Just inexplicable.
It's like this gang full of concrete blocks of men and fucking Pierce Brosnan.
Dude. There's a shot where they're sitting in the plane to go to next location, and it's like four big guys all listening to hard bass and Pierce Brosnan just trying to look debonair, and it's just fucking great.
I love that shit. Have the hard bass drop.
I mean, I have so fucking many hard bass drops. Is the point?
It was. What was it from?
God.
The Saint, wasn't
it?
The
Saint.
Yes, the Saint.
The Saint. Do I? Let's see.
Hello to the audience. How are you
I'll
doing?
take it to my home.
Perhaps I'll take it to my home. In Africa.
It's not the hard bass drop.
That
you
one?
know what I want.
We simply must move on.
No, I'm not moving till I get my hard bass.
We are an hour into this podcast. There's a lot more movie.
Yes.
Bond goes to a Kazakhstani nuclear weapons decommissioning facility. He doesn't know why he's been taken there or what he's doing, but they're like, go on, in you go. And he's like, fine, whatever.
He's like, please change into this sick, nasty jumpsuit. It is honestly like one of the better fits since the Zoran Industries bomber jacket.
Meanwhile, someone else is changing out of a jumpsuit.
Yeah, Dr. Christmas fucking... God, what was it? Dr. Christmas Jones.
At least it was
Christmas
Jones and not like tight pussy
Dr.
or something.
Christmas tight pussy.
Christmas tight pussy.
As
she's also dressed exactly like Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
oh my God, you're right.
Because you know the kids like
Jones, she's dressed like Lara Croft, and I'm like, okay,
and this is Denise Richards not acting. She
does an okay job in the first scene, and then it goes downhill from there.
She's okay.
But she does fine.
No, she's playing a nuclear psychiatrist. What are you talking about?
So as a nuclear physicist, she goes, yeah, my name's Dr. Christmas Jones. Don't make any Christmas jokes because I've heard all of them.
And you know what? Credit to him, he doesn't. For
there is kind of a charming line. Bond is like undercover, right? He is like figured out, okay, I'm in a Russian-speaking country. I should do a Russian accent. And we later establish he's just speaking English in a Russian accent. He is not doing bits from hit film Hunt for Red October. He is simply doing this accent.
He's literally just speaking like this, and they're like, wow,
speaking with this slightly Russian accent.
A Russian man.
Yes, and so he says,
Pierce Brosnan is Irish,
oh, yes,
right?
Very.
So that should have been the giveaway, because if he was actually Russian, he would have been Scottish.
Yeah, Connery could have gotten away with this. But so she goes, my name is Dr. Christmas Jones. Don't do any bits about it, you cunt. And he, quite charmingly, I think, goes, I don't know any doctor jokes. Which is
that
good.
was good.
I like that a lot. So she's a nuclear physicist, and the reason why she's a nuclear physicist is because they're fucking around with nuclear weapons and weapons-grade plutonium underground.
Also, Denise Richards used to be a fashion model before she got half into acting. I think she does a fine job, but there's a great moment where, like, when she takes off her jumpsuit, she turns to Bond and does, like, a perfect fashion model pose, like, presumably without even thinking about it. And I didn't know who she was, but I was instantly like, that woman's a model. Like,
oh yeah,
and
I wrote
she looks so much like a model. She's very out of place, but she does a
great
good job.
jawline. I wrote Awuga. Those don't help from it.
Does she have glasses in this scene?
No, I don't think so.
I remember her wearing glasses.
I don't think she ever does. No, but anyway.
Well, then how are we supposed to know that she's smart?
There's a moment here, after Bond does his little quips, which he does like 4 or 5 of in this interaction, absolutely abysmal. But he does a little laugh to himself, and it really does lend credence to your theory, Alice. But it is a nervous tick he has.
Yeah,
where he's just doing quips constantly.
Yeah. So Bond goes underground, where he sees Renard and his men basically trying to steal a nuclear weapon. They take the little locator card out of it, which is a little floppy disk thing.
This is a good thing.
And Bond puts the gun on Renard, and Renard goes like, yeah, you could kill me, but also
you're not going to do it, pussy.
You're not gonna do it because it's only an hour into the movie. We've got another hour. yeah, that would be too easy.
So much weird shit from here. You're not going to kill me now.
Imagine I can't feel anything.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
Quick note.
And Bond genuinely tells him you don't believe in anything, and so the line is,
"Revenge is not hard to fathom for a man who believes in nothing."
Yeah, like anarchists do.
Yeah, and he comes back with,
What do you believe in? Preservation of capital?
For which Bond's answer is, shut up.
Which is the single most anarchist line that he actually says in the movie. The rest is sort of...
Yeah, the only one, really.
Fully.
At that point, I thought that maybe the way the movie was going to pivot was that MI6 views him as this, he only wants chaos, but in fact, he has his own internal ideology. But then, no, I was giving the movie way too much credit.
He's a nihilist. He
does get an extremely metal line, though, where Bond's going to shoot him and he goes, "A man tires of being executed."
I wrote that down too. Yeah,
that's cool as hell.
Based.
Sick nasty. But then Christmas Jones fucks it up.
Yeah,
Christmas
wait, there's a bit before that, because
right.
as he's about to die, Renard goes, "What's the point in living if you can't feel alive?" And James Bond 007 makes the following noise in musical sting.
Yeah,
literally the LA Noire clue reveal noise.
It's so fucking good.
The penny finally drops an hour into this movie that Electra King may be evil.
They didn't trust the audience at all to put that together as well.
Just,
come on.
Bond opens a chest and gets an item.
This is where he gets the hook shot.
So Dr. Christmas type pussy blows his cover because she goes, "Wait a second, that's not the guy that is pretending to be." And so this sparks Bond almost getting arrested, and then Renard fucking like...
She comes down and she's like, "There's no way this man has been to space and fought in World War II. He's an imposter. He must be big."
And before the gunfight breaks out, Renard grasps Bond's shoulder, right? His injured shoulder. So we know that he knows that. Just in case wasn't enough to tip you off that he was working with Electra. At this point, like, there's a gunfight. Renard escapes with a nuclear weapons worth of plutonium. And Bond and Dr. Christmas type pussy have to outrun some fireballs.
It's really worth noting Bond's decision-making process here, because there are 4 people, 3 of them men, 1 of them Dr. Christmas type pussy, and they all start getting shot at, and they're all equally on his side and equally threatened, and he judo throws the closest man, and then, like, grabs Christmas and is like, "We gotta get out of here, buddy." Are you fucking kidding me?
What, my favorite part of this scene is there's a bit where Renard and his boys are escaping the site in a Jeep, right? And it's an open-top Jeep, and there's 4 of them, all perfectly bald. They're the only people in these scenes who are, and so it's just this, like, gang of bald men shooting their way out.
I imagine that like Renard lost his hair from being shot in the head, and his
Why does he make
in
these
solidarity.
boys?
No, I think they did it out of love and solidarity.
Oh, you think it's like
man,
a charity thing? I shaved my head
like,
to make my
it looks
boss
good
feel
on you,
better.
man. Like,
it does not.
Do you feel cold? No, I've established very clearly I don't feel anything. That's sorry.
You feel cold? No, actually, that's not true.
They're also always doing really painful things and pretending they can't feel it.
At this point, I've written down villains love to try and kill M. Judi Dench M.
This is I've wrote down here. Anarchism is when you're just sort of generally interpersonally mean to your friends.
That's true.
That's all that Renard does. Also, he fucking puts a bomb down. It's a 5-second fuse, and Bond literally waits until the 0.9 second mark to start moving. Like,
there's a lot of running away from explosions here. I gloss over it.
Yeah, that's the scene.
Electra calls M and she's like, well, Bond's disappeared. My guy Davidoff is dead. I'm scared. Can you please come to Azerbaijan in person?
Can I sleep in your bed, please, mummy? Like, it's...
yes. And this works because M feels bad about killing her dad. And...
completely in the face of that character. She's supposed to be this cold, calculating,
I'm
like
a bean counter, an accountant.
Yeah. It also really undermines that she made this like cold-hearted decision to do that later she's like, oh, I still feel bad about it to this day. It like completely undermines that.
Yeah.
You know? What would have been a powerful story element that like, yeah, M did kind of fuck her over. It's like, oh, she made a mistake in her past, in her troubled past.
Okay, they try that again later on.
James Bond works out that he's being betrayed. As we've seen in Tomorrow Never Dies, his one move is go up to opponent, introduce himself by name, and go, "Hey, I know about that shit that you did." Mm-hmm. So much like with Elliot Carver in the fucking boat, he goes back to Electra's house and he's like, you fucking told Reynard everything because of Stockholm Syndrome. And at this point, I'm going to point out that Stockholm Syndrome was made up by a police psychiatrist to try and discredit hostages who criticized the police conduct of a hostage rescue operation.
Yes, this is absolutely 100% true, and I would mention it if you hadn't. Also, I wrote, woman number 2 has appeared in the story, so it's time to break ties with woman number 1.
Yes.
But he also doesn't like call back to MI6 and go, "Hey, I just figured out mission critical information."
No, he doesn't.
Like,
he does insult Electra's pussy though.
Yes.
She's like, this would of course happen to you. You're young and sexually inexperienced, and it's
I don't think that's even a part of the original Stockholm Syndrome thing. I think that's just something they added to try and give. This is a very horny movie, just in general.
Yeah.
And
I think Bond is genuinely angry that he's been fucking played, and she responds the best way to respond to James Bond, which is she slaps him in the face, says, "You disgust me," calls him out for using her as bait, and then she gaslights him. She like outbluffs him and is like, "You're full of shit. Like anyone could have figured out that you've got a sore shoulder, you fucking dickhead. Like anybody could say there's no point living if you can't feel alive. I read it in a fucking fortune cookie. Like, what do you fucking want from me? Fuck off."
Now, Bond, of course, buys all of this instantly. He's like, "Oh, okay. Cool."
He's like, "Oh, I really fucked that one up."
He's not used to it when a woman actually fucking reads him for filth. Like the last time anyone did was Fiona Volpe, and he instantly got her killed. And now he's like, "Well, I can't get you killed. So I guess fine. We'll call it a draw."
Yeah, it's going to be about another hour before I get you killed.
Yeah, also, she does say, you had sex with me.
Yeah,
I'm like, under false
him.
pretenses.
She's like, you knew it was Renard who was after me, and you didn't say shit. You used me as bait. Fuck you, you piece of shit. I'll kill you right now. And it's like, okay, she has got his ass.
Like, yeah, okay, yeah.
Sophie Marceau fucking knocking this scene out of the park. So good.
So M arrives in Azerbaijan, and so everybody goes to the big pipeline headquarters to look at some screens, right?
Yeah, including Dr. Christmas fucking type pussy, where I'm like, why is she here too? What is she doing?
Why is she in the room with all these high security people? Who knows? Doesn't matter.
It's impossible.
Electra, actually, M says it's the pipeline the West is counting on to secure our reserves for the next century. A line that has aged beautifully.
I'm just gonna check how many years it's been since
the next century of oil. But there has been a bomb, a nuclear bomb, a dirty bomb planted in the pipeline on one of those like sort of like scouring rigs, right? That's going to head towards an oil terminal and blow it the fuck up. Therefore, Bond and Dr. Christmas Tight Pussy volunteer to go in after it to disarm it.
Bond's like, this is a lot like the time 2 gay men shot me in an oil pipeline when I was Scottish.
I actually wrote down, this reminds me a lot of the previous 5 times I've defused a nuclear bomb when I was the same guy.
I just wrote down, oh, that's why she's there.
Oh yeah, he does say, what do I need to defuse a nuclear bomb? It's like, you already did that. It's fine, you love me.
You've done this like multiple times.
Several times. This is your 6th one, dude.
This shit is moving significantly faster than the one in Diamonds Are Forever, though, to be fair.
That's true. So they disarm the fucking bomb, right? And as they're doing it, Bond goes, okay, but like take the nuclear bit out and let a bit of it explode anyway, so we can fake our deaths.
Because half the plutonium is missing.
Yes.
Half the plutonium is luck.
Enough to blow the thing up, but not enough to do whatever it is they wanted to do with it. At this point, the villain's plot, I've completely lost.
Electra's plan is to like exonerate herself by having Renard blow up her own oil refinery or something. Not important.
But no one doubted her except Bond for like 2 minutes.
Didn't believe Bond either.
Yeah.
Electra King fucking kidnaps M, right?
Immediately. Like the bomb blows up the pipeline. They think Bond is dead. And Electra goes, right, activate evil mode. Her guards immediately kill the MI6 guys. She takes M hostage on the spot. Like, that's how fast it is.
She is a girl boss.
And Judi Dench, like, to her credit, doesn't have any lines in this sequence, but she really sells her heartache. And she also slaps Electra.
So the point of Bond doing all of this shit was like to fake his death, right? Next scene is basically Electra picks up the phone, goes, Bond is alive, to Renard, and Renard just goes like, oh,
okay. I'll factor that in. Cheers.
I guess we better use the thing that we lingered slightly too long on earlier.
Yeah.
Because they track him.
First of all, we have a really nice scene between Electra and Renard.
Yeah.
So again, these two such good actors. They pose this interesting question of like, what is this villain's relationship like when he can't feel? Like they have this
simp.
Well, they have this sex scene where like she is beautiful and naked on the bed, and he's just like sitting there in his clothes, and like it's kind of hinted that he can't have sex with her because he can't feel anything, and he really, really wants to. It's sad.
She's also like really mean about it.
Mean about it.
Where he's like, you're so soft, and she's like, how would you know?
Yeah, he literally is like, you're so soft and warm, and she's just like, well, how do you fucking know that? And he's like, all right, I'm trying my best here.
Yeah.
You know, it happens to a lot of men. All right, maybe I had too much to drink this evening.
I believe her exact quote.
They work through it, and he just like watches her masturbate, which is like kind of wholesome.
Yeah, sure.
Simp.
But her exact quote was, she said, how would you know? And then she looks directly into the camera and says, you have a bullet in your brain and you can't feel anything,
right.
remember?
And also, you're
like
an anarchist.
Ice cube on him and is like, can you feel that? And he goes, no, as established, I do not have the capacity.
Yeah, and then she goes essentially, and now that's going up my pussy, which is like...
Every third line of his about how he can't feel something, and every second thing something says to him is ask him if he can feel something, to which he goes, no.
Like, I told you no.
Isn't that what you would do, though?
Yeah,
it's good that Robert Carlyle really sells it really well,
but it's like
it's a very silly premise for a villain, but he takes it 100% seriously.
Speaking of very silly premises, right? So,
Beluga caviar.
I'm a slave to the free market economy. Communism Hagrid has a beluga caviar dispensary, depository, factory, warehouse.
Just a big vat of it, like the fucking Joker chemicals.
He has a room where he keeps a big tub of beluga caviar, and so he goes in, sees something crooked on the wall and delivers the line,
"Is nothing in this place straight?"
Which no.
No, sorry.
Sees Christmas Jones, and then Bond gets the drop on him, and he does at least say to Bond, "Can't you just country just say hello like a normal person. And at this point, because they know Bond's alive, they track him to Zhukovsky, and here comes another weird fucking assassination attempt.
I'm telling you, the creative weapon since the yo-yo guy in Octopus.
There's so many weird fucking things that people use to try to kill Bond throughout these movies. I love this shit so much. There's 5 circular swords attached to a helicopter.
They show up with a helicopter with a circular saw and a second helicopter with a guy with a gun. And I just want to know what the briefing for that was. Like, okay, use the saw, and if that doesn't work, shoot him.
It cut his car in half, which is quite fun.
Yeah, it cuts his car in half. The car is pretty, like, ill-used in this movie.
Gosh, yeah. It's got missiles.
It cuts bits off the building, but like there's one bit where you see Zhukovsky and Dr. Christmas Typepussy just step out of they just enter another room.
There's multiple moments where Bond is being chased by this thing and he's just running straight, and I'm like, go to the side.
It can't change direction at all. And it's just perfect.
It's a perfect fucking weapon. It's a beautiful scene. This thing's fucked so hard. Also, Mr. Bullion is useless throughout. Wonderful.
Yes. So, like, Bond escapes this assassination attempt and then dumps Zhukovsky in a big vat of beluga caviar.
And he's in there for so long. That scene goes on so long.
A very wet Coltrane. This is your movie. He's like covered in goop for a large portion of it.
So much goop.
He said
these movies loved goop.
Loved goop. And so
this is why I'm here. I can tell.
He just got slimed.
He just got slimed.
Yeah.
Consider him slimed.
So Bond extracts some information under quasi caviar torture from Zhukovsky that his cousin or his nephew or whatever is in the Navy. He drives a submarine, a Russian submarine, and he's smuggling some shit for Renard to Istanbul. All right, so they go to Istanbul. While they're there, we see that M is like locked in a cell. But Renard has left her a little alarm clock as part of a ham-fisted metaphor that soon she will be dead, just like he's going to be dead soon. And there's, as Sophie Marceau says,
it's time for you to die.
Which, of course, it's before there's no time to do that.
It's such a fucking next location scene. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Robbie Coltrane's just like, my nephew, ? He's in next location. And Bond's like, righto. And then it's like Istanbul.
So anyway, M uses the alarm clock's battery to power the locator car that Bond gave her already on. So she turns up on Zhukovsky's radar, and they figure out that he's not interested in what's on the sub. Renard is going to use the nuclear submarine. He's going to pretty much just like jam the other half of the plutonium in that, create a huge fucking meltdown, blow up Istanbul, which will knock out the other 3 oil pipelines, meaning Electra's is the only one that works, and also achieve his political goals, which are ?
Yes. Well, I think at this point it's more and more shown to be just like an act of simping. Like it's because Electra wants him to, and she has like sexual control over him.
Yeah.
As she does over all men.
She's an ego.
I thought that the twist is you think that she's got Stockholm syndrome, but in fact
it is him
she's just
who
able
has
to
the Stockholm
bend
syndrome.
men to her will.
Yeah,
it's actually all right.
Very, very close to Fatima Blush, if you remember her from Never Say Never Again.
He's subscribing to her private Snap. He's like sending her fan art in emails.
Tier 3 sub to Electra King's Twitch. Renard. Yeah. So at this point, they're having this discussion in an FSB safe house, and Mr. Bullion walks in.
Yeah.
With the most expression, leaves a big gold briefcase behind as they're realizing this, and just in time, Bond goes, that's a bomb. Is what you've done there.
It literally cuts to Mr. Bullion just fucking hightailing it out of there. The shot of him leaving the locale is so funny because it's just him booking it.
He is making his way to an exit, like.
And then we have a Mr. Surname Mongo team up, baby.
Yes, Gabor and Mr. Bullion appear to instantly capture Bond, right? And Dr. Christmas Typepussy, and I'm like, why did he need to figure out where the thing was if they were going to capture it and take him there?
Yeah, kind of points.
But they do that. They take him to like a lighthouse in the middle of the Bosphorus in Istanbul Harbor, where M also is.
There is a lovely little scene, and listeners, I would advise, if you don't watch the film, go and look up this scene. It's about 30 seconds between Elektra and Renard, when he's now taken command of the submarine by poisoning everyone on it. And they kiss, and he can't feel it, and you can see how sad he is that he can't. And you just really understand that he wants to die. He's like...
Why can't he feel it?
There's a bullet in his brain. They didn't say it. It's very,
right. Yeah,
very
sorry, I forgot.
But he wants to die because he doesn't want to live this way. And he's like, I'm going to blow up myself in Istanbul. He says, like, the future is yours or something. Like, enjoy it. But it's such a good performance. Like, it's so
They really don't use any of the whole he becomes more powerful every day shit, though.
He's not becoming more powerful. He's just fucking becoming more of a simp every day until he dies.
Which aren't we all?
You know what? Fair enough.
Now, at this point,
That's what's happened to you, listener.
I'm afraid Abigail and I must now become feral because Renard takes control of the submarine. Bond is brought to Elektra.
I'll just let you guys do this one.
Bond and Dr. Christmas Type Pussy are brought to Elektra. Elektra's like, yeah, okay, I'm not interested in her at all.
Shame.
Yeah, tell me about it. But what I am very interested in is torturing James Bond to death. With a sort of a garrote, I guess you'd describe it as. It's like a chair that she like buckles Bond into, and it's got a little fucking like protrusion thing that like the more she twists a big wheel at the back, the closer it gets to breaking his spine. And listener, let me tell you, this shit horny. This shit
kind of comes out of nowhere. But yeah, she also like straddles him and is like, "Do you know what happens when a man gets strangled?" Which I don't, but I can guess.
Now at this point,
Bond spends this entire scene failing speech checks in Fallout New Vegas. Like he's just saying shit, and every time she twists it, and I'm like, "Stop, man."
Also, listener, one thing that I feel is not getting across here, the horniness is somewhat undercut by the incredible faces Pierce Brosnan is making
fucking manic.
every single time they twist
I'm pretty certain one of these perfect frames will be the episode art because
he's
there
like
are
trying to
so
style
many.
it out, but clearly like dying.
He's like a broken Muppet.
I do quite like that he tries to persuade Elektra, which is the first time in the franchise we've seen Bond try and do that. He says, look, 8 million people don't need to die. You don't need to do this. And then when that doesn't work, he taunts her because she was just like, I enjoyed fucking you. And he's like, you meant nothing to me. One last screw. Like, he doesn't get his way. And we see the truth of James Bond exposed, which he's an angry, violent, petty man.
Yeah, who, if given the choice, will die smug.
And let me tell you this for a fact. She fucking reveals a facial deformity. Air horns.
Whoa,
10 fucking 11th hour facial deformity because she's evil.
I forgot about this.
I didn't even think about that.
She's got a ragged earlobe, whatever. Fuck you.
She cut off her own earlobe to make the kidnapping look convincing. Because she's crazy.
Honestly, it looks cool. And like, it's got a cool earring.
Well, anyway, so Zukovsky shows up and tells a joke that I didn't get when I saw this movie as a kid. He goes, I'm looking for a submarine. It's big and black, and the driver is a very good friend of mine, which is, of course, referencing the joke. It's big and black and full of semen.
I didn't get that either until you just said it.
Wonderful.
That's, yeah, wonderful, perfect. So fucking she shoots Zukovsky with the most simple piece of misdirection ever.
Really?
She hides a gun behind a fucking hat and shoots him through the hat.
Well, it's his cousin's hat, isn't it? Isn't the implication that they killed his cousin?
Yeah.
Yes. With his dying breath, Zukovsky uses a gun concealed in his cane to perfectly shoot Bond's wrist restraint off so he can, like, fucking escape, right?
Yeah, man, whatever.
He sweats him, though. He makes him think he's going to shoot him in the knee.
Yeah, there is a fun bit where Elektra's just like, wow, he really hated your ass. So Bond escapes, chases Electra upstairs, incidentally frees M in the most fucking like.
It's such a like. Oh, we just remembered that M exists.
He literally busts in the room, shoots the lock off the door, exits the room, goes up to Electra. She's like, "You can't kill me. The pussy's too good."
Taunting him, it's so good. She's like, I am the fucking billionaire, I don't give a shit, I'm a girl boss, I own everyone who even looks at me, you're not gonna fucking shoot me, you don't have the balls.
I'll be honest with you, he wouldn't have done it, but she made the fatal error of teeing him up a line so hard.
Yeah.
He has a gun pointed at her and she says, "You would miss me." And he
goes, "Bam, I never miss.
I never miss."
The reason he kills her is because she's on the radio. He says, "Call Renard off," and she yells down the radio, "Bond is here, go, go, go."
She goes, "I'm just a professional doing a job.
I'm just a little birthday boy.
You wouldn't shoot a woman with glasses." So he shoots her, and then the Pierce Brosnan caressing dead women count goes up to 2 because he does a bit of dead woman caressing.
He shoots an unarmed woman, but he feels bad about it.
Does feel bad.
Then
briefly.
And she was asking for it, hard to know.
The usual fucking action scene, right? Bond gets on the submarine with Christmas tight pussy. They fucking fight Renard.
Did it bother anyone else that he jumped into the water without taking off his shoes?
Fully.
A little bit.
There's also
supposed to do that?
Fascinating thing where they have no idea how to indicate that the thing is fissile, so it just sort of ambiently makes a Geiger counter clicking noise whenever it's handled. It's really funny.
Because the climactic fight scene is Bond fights Renard as Renard's trying to push this extruded rod of plutonium into the reactor, and every time it does, it fizzes up some 7-Up or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it just makes some water go like.
And you're like, "Oh, danger."
Also, they crash the submarine and it's vertical, so it's kind of cool to having to navigate through the vertical.
It's fun.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, but
at this
Bond
point, Christmas type pussy has fully forgotten how to act and is just like reading
the
lines.
Line reads.
It's not
terrible.
Why did they have to shoot him out of a torpedo bay also?
It's not important.
It was a lot like the last time they did that.
The way Bond kills Renard is to like fire the rod of plutonium out of the fucking reactor into Renard's like gut and kill him. But before he does, he goes, "She's waiting for you," and you see him smile longingly, and it's like, "Oh, dude,
simp,
simp."
Get over her, King. She's not worth it.
Istanbul is saved, and then we get the classic ending of where's 007? Well, he's inside some tight pussy, man. They
lying
track
perfectly still.
Yeah, they track Bond's heat signature on a spy satellite to where he is currently Mormon soaking Dr. Christmas tight pussy, lying perfectly still on top of her.
There's a second heat signature jumping on the bed. Well, just for the benefit of the audience, if you want to know what happened to Mr. Surname and Mongo, they both just went out like bitches. Absolutely.
Not
like it was
not important.
Completely bitch made. They just.
I'm pretty sure that in the next film they're the same guy.
They just hang out for the entire movie and then they get shot upon entering the final scene. Cool.
And then of course, Bond has to do a fucking Christmas joke, right?
He does too.
He does too. He says, "I've always wanted to have Christmas in Turkey." And she's like, "Is that a Christmas joke?" And he's like, "No." And then
No.
as they're fucking, he goes,
"I thought Christmas only comes once a year."
James Bond upon making a woman come twice in 1 year is like, hell yeah, did it, baby. Fuck off.
I have a theory about this joke, is that test audiences reacted so poorly to it that they had to add in John Cleese making the joke about a millennium bug to make James Bond seem funny by comparison.
That's probably true.
Yeah, maybe.
God damn it.
Jake Cleese. Cool guy.
That's the movie. That's a 2-hour movie. And it took us a while on this one because there's some fucking ideology in this one, to be honest. But first of all, like real quickly, what do we make of The World Is Not Enough, right? Because by popular vote, we've decided it's a bad movie. But
you guys go first.
I sort of enjoyed parts of it. Listen, I'm never not going to enjoy a scene where Pierce Brosnan gets tortured by a woman, and that's in every Pierce Brosnan Bond movie. because someone had a complex, and you know, obviously that affected me at a young age. I enjoy fucking Robbie Coltrane in this. Even I enjoy Robert Carlyle. Right? It's the only real misstep is the fact that it goes more like Roger Moore. That's the weird
it's the most
part
Roger
about it.
Moore of any Brosnan
It
film.
feels like weirdly nervous, like it lacks sort of confidence in itself, and it retreats back into that sort of like
there's a boat
Moore
chase.
world.
There's a ski scene. He's making more and more quips. Like it is the Roger Moorification.
Perhaps because Brosnan. This is the first post Austin Powers Bond film.
Oh, fuck, I hadn't even thought about that.
That's a series which we're never gonna watch that series, but it did inflict a deep psychic wound on the Bond franchise, which is very funny. But we have a scientific rating system.
Absolutely, we have a 100% science-based.
100% science-based, devised by a real nuclear physicist, Dr. Christmas Type Pussy. The scum system.
Christmas Type Pussy.
For SMARM, cultural insensitivity, unprovoked violence, and misogyny out of 7. So, where would we place this movie on SMARM, and why is the answer 8?
The answer is at least 7. Like it's such a bizarre step up. Like multiple times.
I don't think it's a step up from Tomorrow Never Dies. I think
really. I mean,
think it's on par
Christmas
with Tomorrow.
only comes once a year.
Yeah. Well, so we've never given a movie more than 7 for SMARM. Is this the smarmiest he's ever been?
No.
Really?
No,
it's not.
It's a joint 7.
Yeah. Okay. Cultural insensitivity.
They did say a lot of countries were full of terrorists.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of a line there.
Having the sort of like Azerbaijani dudes just acting like Jawas was very funny.
Yeah.
By and large, for the Brosnan years, I'd say like a 3, 2 maybe.
Yeah, could have been worse. I could go with 2.
Yeah, I mean they didn't
provoked.
Didn't have a villain making kung fu noises. Unprovoked violence.
Precipitous drop off after the opening, I think.
Yeah,
did a lot of unprovoked violence. I don't know, man. Fuck, I hate the scum spectrum. It's a shit movie. Fuck off. Stop asking me
it's
about
almost
it.
like this isn't a great way to understand.
I think it was a really funny idea that when we came up with it in January 2021. But I think that maybe
it's good. It gives the podcast structure.
20 movies later,
gives the people updating the wiki something to do.
That's true.
Is there a wiki?
Yeah.
There will be now.
Unprovoked violence. Damn it.
I think it's fairly low. Like,
whatever, dog.
1?
Yeah.
No.
He does shoot an unarmed woman.
2.
To death.
3. 4?
Sure. Yeah, 3.
But she had a razor tongue, though. She cut it deep with her words.
Do it, pussy.
Also, he kills Davidoff when Davidoff's unarmed.
4?
Bond commits at least 2. Yeah, I'm going to go 4.
This is such a fucking like.
I don't know, man.
Misogyny.
It's such an auction way of doing it. We're like 4, going once.
Christmas only comes once a year.
Going twice.
There is a bit where he meets Dr. Christmas Type Pussy for the first time, and he goes, miss, and she goes, doctor, and that is fully just a woman from
You're
Moonraker.
right, it is.
That's exactly the same scene, just sort of gussied up a bit.
Yeah,
right?
because
It's the same
Stockholm syndrome, like sexually inexperienced, like
sexually inexperienced. 5.
One last screw. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
5
I
or
could do
6.
6 even.
Yeah.
I could do 6. Yeah, I could do 6.
Just the whole premise of like, how do we make this woman a villain? Well, she seduces men with her very good sex.
How do we
You're
disempower
right.
M in only 2 movies? Yeah,
she's already. No, I'm fucking.
She's already entirely reliant on Bond.
Judi Dench,
which is
has been like fucking flanderized within 2 movies. It's absolutely brutal.
She's going. I think I would never tell him, but I think he's our best dude. And then
Run
Bond
the
saves her
numbers,
life.
motherfucker! I thought that was your thing.
Yeah.
Do a calculation.
He's our best dude. Unlike 009, consistently our worst dude.
They're just like,
I don't know why we even have him.
Every time they assign a new guy to 009, he's like, "Oh, no, please, no, you gotta be 009."
I could go 7 for misogyny then, honestly, because
fuck.
I think you're right, Mildred. Like, especially in the terms of like what makes a woman evil. Well, she corrupts men with her pussy.
Yeah, I think I could go 7 then. Yeah.
All right then, that gives us a total of 20.
Good lord.
Yeah, 14 plus 6, 20. Which is the worst Brosnan. I mean, he's getting worse. Yeah. He's getting worse as it goes on.
Oh, wait until Die Another Day.
Yeah, you got something ahead of you. Yeah.
I listened to the fucking intro music to Die Another Day recently, and oh boy, if that's
was it Madonna who did?
Madonna. Yeah. Oh dear.
Also did a song for Austin Powers. Just saying.
We also have to award a Kronstein Rosette and a Goodnight Cross. Now the Kronstein Rosette for like
is you audience. If you go to fucking www.killjamesbond.com/store.
Beautiful.
We have about 70 left as of time of recording. So
yeah, do it. Do that.
Won't be out, but there might be a couple. Check it out. Why not? Fuck off.
Yeah. Who do we think our Kronstein Rosette is? Who's the villain who went the extra mile here?
Mr. Bullion.
Mr. Bullion. Yeah, it's Mr. Bullion.
Yeah.
Is who
he wrote the song.
It's Mr. Bullion. Like he did a lot.
He walked a shitload of explosives into that building. Although, no, it's not. No, it's not.
Fuck
you know
off.
Who it is? It's fucking Cigar Girl.
Oh,
I will kill myself before I talk to James Bond ever again. Is that not the stuff that Kronstein Rosettes are made of?
You're right.
Gotta be Cigar Girl.
Any villain that tries to escape on a hot air balloon, I think, gets it in spirit. You know?
Yeah. Now the Goodnight Cross.
Underappreciated heroic character.
Do we want to give it to the insanely horny doctor who is just like, no. Yeah, I'll put you back on the fucking mission list if you give me that dick.
Did anything happen with his fucking shoulder, by the way? Because they really just set that motherfucker up.
He falls over at one point and goes,
Having a fucked up shoulder is where you do everything normal and then just occasionally go, ow.
Yeah, he is good at swimming.
He's really good at swimming.
Pretty good at swimming for someone with a fucking broken shoulder, yeah.
No.
I don't want to give...
I don't know.
No, I'm not going to give the fucking doctor a Goodnight Cross because she breaks the Hippocratic Oath at one point by purposefully hurting his shoulder, so no.
Wait, I know who it is.
For like sex reasons.
It's the colonel who runs the Kazakhstani nuclear weapons dismantling facility.
Yes!
All right.
Yes,
he's
that
like,
guy.
no, nobody goes anywhere. Not you, not Renard. I want to see everyone's fucking papers right now. Nobody's taking these nuclear weapons out of the room. I am committed to doing this by the book, and then he gets killed.
Yeah, it's that guy. That's a Goodnight Cross. This has been The World Is Not Enough.
That's such a fucking guy on the construction site who says you have to wear a hard hat ass answer.
Yes.
OSHA rule says we can't have any spies here.
Hey, check this out. Mildred, where can the people find you? They want more ThoughtSlime.
You can find me at youtube.com/ThoughtSlime or youtube.com/ScaredyCatsTV, where I talk about horror movies. Might be more relevant to the audience of this podcast.
Wonderful.
Also, if you'd like to learn, because I realized I was brought on as kind of the anarchism consultant, didn't really talk about that a lot. If you'd like to actually learn about anarchism, can I recommend a YouTube channel by a username Zoe Baker, who I think would give... Or want to learn what anarchists actually believe.
Alternatively, kidnap an heiress and then steal a shitload of plutonium for her. And yeah, just generally, do it based on vibes.
Have a good time.
You don't have to steal plutonium to impress us, though, listeners. You can just go to patreon.com/killjamesbond.
Yeah, buy some pins.
Yeah, that's all you need to do to simp for us.
Our next mainline episode is going to be the 20th Bond, Die Another Day. We're going to have Trash Future Podcasts Riley Quinn on the show to talk about it. I'm so very excited for that one.
I chatted with him earlier. He's so excited to talk about Die Another Day.
We have been Kill James Bond. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you for listening to yet another episode of Kill James Bond. How good was Mildred, fellas? Links to all of Mildred's ventures can be found in the description. Kill James Bond will return in 2 weeks' time for Die Another Day, I think. They're all named the same fucking shit these days. But it's the last Brosnan, the final Brosnan. We've got Riley Quinn from Trash Future who is going to be coming on, and this should be quite good. We'll see. But if 2 weeks is simply too long for you to wait, you can head on down to our Patreon, where next week it's Abby's choice of bonus, so we are talking about the Thomas Crown affair. Speaking, of course, of our beautiful patrons, we would be absolutely nothing without our £15 and above patrons, and those are, and there are 42 of them, so just give me a second here. Hawks Winchester, Paint McCullough, Jack Holmes, George Rohack, Thomas Oberhart, Sol, Pratek, British Pterodactyl, Nikki, Carolyn Tankersley, Amber DeGrazia, Benno Rice, Kit Devine, Max Gamenhart, Amanda Rogda, Sydney Steckel, Hell Bloodhands, Jay Martindale, Kentucky Fried Commie, Jack Bushell, Field Commissar Jen, Big Titty Goth Girl, Mothman Trip, Timothy Pajorni, Tarp O, Dread Pirate Robin, Charlie in the Closet, best of luck, Zoe Shepherd, Elizabeth Cox, Alfredo, Avery Darling, Al Irwing, David Wickramaratna, Richard Drum, Ray O'Leal, James Natman, Josh Simmons, Robbie Morgan, Kinyu 92 Millie, and Bon LeBon. So, isn't that fun? Kill James Bond. You know how it is. Alice, Abigail, Devon, producer, Nate Bethay, podcast art, Maddie Lubchansky, website, Tom Allen. See ya.